a lot of people were like, when you give up soda, you have like real withdrawal, like
Mhm.
as if it was like a hardcore drug, and I actually had to drink one to take the edge off. I seriously had withdrawals because I drink a lot of Diet Coke. When I say like a lot of people drink coffee,
Mhm.
I drink a lot of Diet Coke. In fact, to the point where at one point in time I was having heart palpitations, and I went to the doctor for it, trying to figure out what this was. They hooked me up to all kinds of EKJ. I walked around with this battery and all kinds of wires strapped to me for like 2, 3 days. I get the
Mhm.
results back, and the doctor was like, "Yeah, you do. Like, we do see some irregularities." But he said the irregularities that we're seeing are from a person who drinks a lot of caffeine.
Okay.
He said it's like not out of ordinary. He said, "Do you drink a lot of coffee?" I'm like, "No, I don't drink coffee." He's like, "Sodas?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I drink a lot of sodas." He was like, "What's a lot of soda?" I'm like, "Maybe 524 ounces." So he's like, "Over 124 some ounces of soda is what you're selling me." And I'm like, "Pretty much."
Wow.
Yeah. And so when I cut it cold turkey,
Mhm.
it I really, really, really had withdrawal pains and symptoms. I had to take a BC powder and drink at least one. So I'm gonna have to slowly wean myself because I picked the wrong thing. Maybe I should have just done food, maybe one meal a day or something like that.
No, I
But
think you picked the right thing. You need to let that
well,
go.
yeah, I need to let it go. I know. So, which brings me to our first story. There's a church in Oak Park, Illinois. So
Mhm.
it's the Oak Park Church that has been promoting for Lent. Their theme is fasting from whiteness. That's their theme. And since putting that theme out there in the open, now they have to hold church. They have to do online services only because they've been getting death threats. And that's what the pastor said on Monday. So, following the threats made against the church, their services are online until local and federal enforcement completes their assessment of those threats that they have been getting. John Edgerton of the First United Church of Oak Park, their pastor, wrote in a text to the Chicago Sun-Times. Edgerton came up with the slogan, said the church played music by non white composers during Lent as a way to allow other perspectives to have space. The church's fasting from whiteness programs include classes for adults about anti racism and education for children about the truth of the Christian faith and God's love for all people. And what we call the lie, which is the racist idea that some people are better than others, according to Edgerton. In addition, portraits from photographer James C. Lewis, icons of icons of the Bible, a series featuring non-white depictions of biblical characters, have appeared on the covers of the church bulletins each week. Mary Magdalene and Jesus are planned for Easter and Palm Sunday. So, gonna show, I guess, black versions or Middle Eastern versions of Jesus and Mary Magdalene. Music during Lent has included African American spirituals and South African freedom songs and songs from Native American traditions and Spanish language hymns. So, so the fasting thing posted on the sign and on the church front lawn has generated headlines from around the world, with some calling it, Fox News calling it wokeness gone mad and reverse racism. Because they always do this thing about wokeness.
Yes.
Everybody's woke.
Oh
So I
gosh.
I don't know. The fasting from whiteness thing, he meant well. I give him that. Like I appreciate the effort. I applaud the effort, Reverend Edgerton. I applaud your effort. I know where you were going, you know, with that. But how does one
Yeah.
fast from whiteness?
Mm, I don't know because I, that's weird.
Yeah,
I don't want to call it weird because I don't even know. Like,
it's
oh
not really
gosh,
a fast. It's more like we're highlighting. I mean, it's more like we're highlighting black culture or something. We're not. It's not fasting from. But I see where he's going, right? And I
Mhm.
do applaud the effort, and I guess every little bit counts or something. So
I don't know why this tickles me. Like,
I wish Fox News would fast from white nationalism. I wish they would call a fast on that, but
yeah, that would be too easy.
so
Oh wow, that's interesting. I don't even know what to say.
yeah,
It's weird in a way.
yeah. I think his heart's in the right place. I do.
Hmm.
And I do, yeah, like I said, I appreciate it. I see where you're going with that, but it's not really fasting.
Mm,
Uh, yeah,
mm-mm.
it's just we're gonna highlight. He
Mm.
probably reminds me. I saw him on the Roland Martin show,
Okay,
and he does remind me of that. Really, he reminds me of that very enthusiastic youth pastor
with
of
the
like the
jeans
mega
and the
church.
plaid shirt.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
the mega church that has white and black and Hispanics, all people, and
the
so
red and
you could
yellow,
tell
black
he
and
means
white.
well. Yeah, yeah, he
Hmm.
tries hard, so he
Wow.
gets an A for effort in my book.
Okay.
So
All right. You know.
yeah,
Hey.
go past the Edgerton. So in keeping with the theme, we also have a story from the AME Church, the African Methodist Episcopal Church.
Mm-hmm.
So pastors have filed at least 3 federal lawsuits in recent weeks against the African Methodist Episcopal Church, along with several other subsidiaries and financial firms that the church used, alleging that tens of millions of dollars from a pension fund were mismanaged and missing. The retired and current pastors in Florida and Maryland and Virginia filed a lawsuit against the oldest historically black denomination in the U.S. late last month. They're seeking a class action status on behalf of thousands of AME pastors and church officials throughout the country who have lost money through the pension fund. The pastors who were required to participate in the retirement plan said that they have been unable to get access to their money. So, in the lawsuit, the Reverend Cedric Alexander of Bowie, Maryland, said that the then chair of the church's retirement fund invested the money in undeveloped land in Florida, and now a defunct capital venture outfit, and gave a promissory note to an installer of solar panels. The lawsuit alleges that violations of the federal law protecting employee retirement funds, that the church retirement fund chair invested the plan assets in imprudent and extraordinarily risky investments and ultimately lost nearly $100 million of the plan participants' retirement savings.
Mm-hmm.
So the Maryland lawsuit said in a statement Tuesday that the church said it was the churches said that it was limited in what they couldn't respond like they
Mm-hmm.
wanted to because of the litigation. So basically,
Sorry.
what it
It was
looks like
tripping.
is the AME's church let one person invest the money in the
Mm-hmm.
retirement plan. One person had the power to invest the money in whatever he saw as fit to do. Right. So he wrote the checks and he decided that he was going to invest the money in land development in Florida and a venture capital fund, which is now broke
Mm.
or dissolved. and solar panels to the tune of almost not $90 million. And what I don't get about the AME Church in this one, like I
Mhm.
told you, the AME Church, they are one of the strictest, most like disciplined
Mhm.
churches out there.
Yeah.
And for them to trust one person, and when you got a retirement fund, usually you have an outside auditor, right?
Mhm.
You're the business lady, right? There's
Mhm.
usually an outside auditor, you got an accountant. One person can make the decision, but then they got to go to somebody else to get the check cut, or
And
there's
at
like
least two
more than
people have to sign. Like
right,
it's a process. Yeah.
right. There's a process, but they chose to entrust one man to make these decisions, and now they're short. And I would hate
Mhm.
to think that I was a pastor for 20, 25 years, 30 years. So basically, from what I read, if you have $100,000
Mhm.
in that plan, you've lost 3/4
Mm.
of the money you had in there.
Wow.
So whatever you have only 3/4, and they were required. Like, you couldn't say, "Well, I don't want to do this. I want to, my savings plan, my retirement plan. I want to go to the Charles Schwab or Fidelity or whatnot." You were
Yeah.
required
To go
to
through.
to
Yeah.
go through them, and now 3/4 of your retirement
It's gone.
have been wiped out. So I hope they get their money back or
Mhm.
something like, well, which I don't think they will. So
That's crazy.
yeah. And my mother, well, my mother was AME Zion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm familiar
totally
with Amy
different.
Zion. Mhm.
I used to think they were the same.
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah, because I was going to say my mother was brought up AME, but she was AME Zion.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, yeah, that's really sad.
That's crazy.
Cause yeah, I, I've my dad was in church administration, and to a certain point, at one time, I was in church administration, and especially on the finance side, and we had one person that could cut the check,
Mhm.
and that person pretty much, they weren't embezzling money; they were putting the money back, but
Mhm.
they were using the religious organization's money as a bridge loan. So if they were coming up short on rent,
Yeah.
they would use the money, pay their rent, and when they got paid, they would put the money
Replace
back
it.
or something. And they did that for a while, but you know how it happens. Like, one day, something happened, and you can't immediately get the
That.
funds back,
Mhm.
and then the organization needed the money like right now, and they got caught. And the
Yeah.
problem, and that person was an accountant, right? He was somebody who would known better, right?
Yeah.
Or studying. They were studying to be an accountant at that time, and
Mm.
they were using this religious organization's money as a bridge loan,
Nope.
and they were studying to be an accountant. And the last I checked, they are an accountant for like, I saw them at the
Mhm.
mall, and they are an accountant for a very big organization.
Oh
And
wow.
I've always wondered, like, did they change their ways?
Hopefully.
Because they were doing that for a long time. Because
Wow.
when we go back,
Yeah.
they well, he wasn't the only one that was able. He was The president had to sign too, but he was forging her name. So he was doing forgery and bridge loaning at the
Mm.
time. So, because whenever we pulled the checks and got photocopies, he
Yeah.
was like, "I that is not my signature. I never signed those."
Oh
So
wow.
he had, yeah, yeah.
Oh wow.
So, but I'm not saying, well, in this case, nothing, there was no money stolen. It was just
Mm-hmm.
bad decisions made. So I don't know if they're going to get their money back.
Mm.
So yeah, that's sad for you. So
Dang,
I'm
that's
gonna, huh?
I said that's messed up.
That's messed up,
It's
right?
beyond messed up.
And that's why, like, every now and again, I would encourage people, even if you got your money in like Fidelity or
Mm,
um whatnot, every now and again, because you know how you get your statements and you
mm,
get a pile of them and you never really read it. Every now and then, read that stuff.
yeah.
Log in, look through, see what
Mm,
you got. Cause sometimes you'll be surprised when you see how much of a hit you taking, or when you look at, they give you that report how much you need to put in. Like I never forget, I didn't read it, and then I was sat down and read the report one day when they says how much money you need to live now, right? So
mm,
just to have a minimum of what, say, in the future in retirement, you needed, say, $3,500 a month to $4,000
mm,
a month, and how much extra I would have to put in. And I was looking at, I was unaware
mhm.
that, how little bit of money I was putting in. And when you see that statement of how much you're actually going to get versus
Yep.
how much you need, you
Yep.
probably want to stay on top of that. And I would encourage everybody to stay on top of it and not just leave it out there. And so, and I want to say this went on for like a year.
Mhm.
So I always wondered when, what was he telling them? What reports was he giving them? Like, everything's good, everything's
Mm,
golden, everything's
no.
copacetic, and turning around and praying like, Lord, I need this money back or something. So
Mm-mm.
yeah.
That's
So
crazy.
I'm gonna turn the floor over to you.
Okay. Well, before I get into to, into my just my little my piece, funny story from teacher trenches.
Okay.
So, I'm in K-8 elementary. That's my career. And a situation happened this week. I never encountered a situation like this before, and it was the most hilarious slash disgusting thing I've ever heard of in my life. So, during I'm trying to make this as anonymous as possible. So during an after school program, we have kinder to eighth grade students, and one of the kindergarten babies had asked to go to the restroom. The restroom in the room, because kindergarten they normally have a bathroom in the classroom, right?
Hmm.
The bathroom in the classroom where they were was broken, so the student needs to go to the main bathroom. And so I don't think the person in charge really thought about that detail. I'll have to admit I would not have thought about this particular detail. But the little boy goes to use the bathroom. A couple minutes later, a couple other little boys also asked to go to the bathroom. They came running back seconds later. Such and such was drinking out of the urinal.
Oh God.
So what? And he was trying to sit in it and he handed me the urinal cake. What? You know me. I have a sick sense of humor.
Hmm.
The first thing I wanted to do was bust out laughing, but I couldn't.
Hmm.
We got the baby. We did everything we were supposed to do. Got the baby to the school nurse. Was watching them, washed them as much as we could. Gave him some antidiarrheals. Um, Contacted a guardian. Guardian came and picked him up. But it didn't occur to me because again, I didn't have boys. I have, my child is a little girl. So it just didn't occur to me that little boys generally don't know what urinals are until they're a little bit older than a kindergartner. Because, when they go out, they're usually with
Oh.
They're usually with their moms, and they go to the women's bathroom and
Oh,
stuff like that. So he didn't know what it was. So to him, it looked like a weird water fountain. Yes. And that happened on a Tuesday. And every time I see this baby, I want to bust out laughing and give him a hug.
mm.
So, yeah.
Oh man,
So that was this week's teacher
I
moment.
never, I never thought about that.
Hmm.
The little kids never really have.
No.
You're right.
And I don't know
Let,
what, like, I wouldn't know what age they would even start using those.
and this was the kindergartner, right?
Yeah, this baby was a kindergartner. He
Oh, I'm
was.
glad you brought that up. I'm
Mhm.
watching this video, and I didn't even know y'all taught this, but the teacher has a chair with two balloons on the seat
Yes.
of it that looks like a butt, and she's teaching the kids how to wipe.
Yes, it's a part of
I
personal
did
hygiene.
not know. I thought parents taught that. I did not know that teachers teach
Don't make me go on
wiping.
a rant of what parents do and don't teach. Do not. I'm not doing that this
You're
episode.
not going to, okay.
I'm not going to
When
go
I
there.
saw that, that blew my mind. I'm like, they teachers have to teach how to wipe?
Personal hygiene. Because think
Okay.
about it, a lot of these babies aren't totally potty trained until halfway through first grade, sometimes second grade.
Yeah, and when I saw it, I'm like, they do it top down. I'm like, I've never been done it
They
top
did top
down.
down
Yeah,
in this
top
video.
down in the video. I'm like, who does top down?
Mm-mm.
I'm like,
That
is
does
that the
not.
proper way to do it? I guess their logic was if you do top down and then you can just let the tissue drop in the toilet. And I'm like, am I
That's not.
doing it wrong? Have I been doing it wrong? Because I
No.
do it from bottom up.
Yes.
Because that to me feels more natural. But this teacher's doing it top down. I'm like, really?
Okay, well, yeah, she needs to work on that then.
Yeah, with little balloons. I was like, I never thought that. And I was like, wow. And
A
another one
friend
that
of
I
mine.
seen an
Oh, go ahead.
Asian class where
Hmm.
they tape the balloons to the kids' behinds. And yeah, the girl was like, what?
That's
That was
cute.
hilarious.
That's cute.
Yeah,
A friend
yeah.
of mine who has boys, she had 5 boys. And one time we were talking on the phone,
Hmm.
and she was talking about how she was mad with her sons because he had eaten all the store brand Cheerios. No, Fruit Loops. And I'm like, because they need them to go to the bathroom to get them. She was fussing. I was like, well, why do they need Fruit Loops to go to the bathroom? She
Oh
said to
yeah,
aim. I was like,
yeah. I saw
what?
that. Yeah.
But yeah, she would buy the store brand Fruit Loops, keep them under her bathroom sink, and when she was training her boys, she would let them get a few to help them aim. I had
Wow.
never. She said
I
she
don't
had
even.
seen it on Pinterest or something.
I've never. I don't even. That's one of the things. Like I don't remember being taught any of that. All right. Some things that are like tying a shoe. I don't even remember being taught how to tie a shoe.
Oh,
But I'm
okay.
pretty sure at some point in time, my parents taught me how to tie a shoe. And like right now, I can eat with chopsticks really good. And
Hmm. But you remember.
I do not remember where that came from.
Hmm. Okay.
I'm like, where did I learn how to eat with chopsticks?
Hmm. Okay.
And I'm thinking they're like, because I'm eating sushi the other day, and I'm like going at it, and I'm eating right side of the bowl with chopsticks. And I thought about it. I'm like, when did I ever? When did I learn to use chopsticks?
Hmm.
I,
You have no
I don't
idea.
know.
It just
I have
happened.
no idea, which is weird.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, which reminds me of I forgot one story. Well, since
Okay.
we're on education, so right down the street, the
Hmm.
HBCU makes history with the first women's rowing and crew team, and it's right down the road. St. Aug
Okay. Say
will
oh.
begin. Yeah, will be competing in the regattas in the fall. 5 young women at North Carolina's St. Augustine's University are making history. And rowing, sometimes called crew in the United States, is a sport of racing boats using oars,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not cheap. And that's why it's more common to see Ivy League institutions like Harvard and Yale participating in rowing.
Okay.
So Howard University does have a men's crew team, and they made history in the mid '60s with having the first men's crew team. But this will be
Okay.
the first women's crew team.
Oh,
So
cool. Go ahead,
yeah,
St.
go
Aug.
St. Aug. Yeah, St. Aug they've always had like non-traditional. If I'm not mistaken, before any of the HBCUs had golf teams,
Mm-hmm.
I
They
want to
did.
say like they had a golf team, and they had a pretty good golf team because a friend of mine had a scholarship to play golf. I didn't even know HBCUs were giving out scholarship for golf and
Scholarships.
stuff like that. Yeah, so
What
he
church are
played
they
golf.
affiliated with? Because aren't they a private religious
They are a
institution?
private school, but
Or am I thinking
St.
Living?
Augustine was a Catholic, wasn't he? I'm not saying they're Catholic, but
Oh, I don't know. I just know
every time.
now a lot of the people that were going to get their divinity degrees go to St.
Hmm.
Aug.
Yeah, or Shaw's got it in
That's
school.
true. Shaw does too. Shaw does too.
I
Okay.
keep forgetting about St. Aug. I like them,
Mm-hmm.
but somehow NC State, Shaw U, and you forget St. Augustine
I
is
don't
right
forget St.
down.
Aug. I went there once. It was scary. I left.
Really,
Is it St. Aug or Shaw? And again, I know most of us are in the hood because Central's in the hood too.
it might be Shaw because Shaw is around. Yeah, really kind of sketchy on that
Like
down
I
there
heard
near.
shots fired, and I was like, "All right, let's wrap this up, and
That
we
might
out."
be Shaw U. Which is the one over there on New Bern Avenue? There's a sketchy part of New Bern Avenue.
Is that Shaw? Because I believe
Uh
I wouldn't.
that that
That
might
might
be
be.
that might be St. Aug over there on off of New Bern Avenue.
All I know is I was riding with one of my line sisters. It was a few of my line sisters. All I knew which one had the keys to the car, and I knew which car to get in. Come on, sis, let's wrap this up.
Yeah, mm,
So
yeah,
yeah.
it might be St. Aug. Well, Shaw U too. But you know what?
Hmm.
It's different now because gentrification.
Okay.
Down there on that side of New Bern Avenue,
Mm-hmm.
gentrification's coming through and it's crazy. Yeah.
Okay.
It's totally different. All those
Mm.
little housing developments and those little low income housing things that were over there,
Yeah,
they're wiped away.
they're
They're
gone.
gone. And they're building it up, and yeah, it's totally different. Well, that's the story of Durham. I mean, everywhere you go,
Mm-hmm.
gentrification is coming through. Like when you gotta come to Durham.
But
It
yeah, I'll
is
be going
not
up there anyway.
the
Our daughter
Holloway
needs
Street,
to.
Hyde Park. I remember they put Hyde Park totally different. 350, $400,000 house. So
Okay.
yeah. So
Okay.
that's part of the reason why I'm the couch surfing champion of 2018, 2019, 2020, 22. Cause
Whew.
yeah, it is not cheap
Gotcha.
to stay in the Raleigh Durham area anymore.
Gotcha.
So hmm
Gotcha. Okay.
all right, Nicole, take it
Well,
away.
I got a couple things, and
Hmm.
I know the last couple episodes I be going there, but I'm gonna try to simmer it down this time around. And I know before the show we were talking about there's like 3, 4 different things um that I have in mind.
Because
And
everybody, we're gonna talk about Cam. We're gonna
yeah.
talk about him, and
Yeah, I got quite a few things, and I had to revisit my code though. My
uh oh,
my personal code. I had to go back and revisit it. which is the
Okay.
main reason why I'm not going to go as hard on the two ladies that I mentioned in the pre-show. I am going to
Mm-hmm.
mention the situation. I'm gonna go over the situation, but I'm not gonna dig in as hard as I originally was going to. So our good sis. Let's see. I adjusted my screen. Okay, so I'm gonna share. Actually, hold on, wait. Let me get to the right. Do. First, I want to talk about a couple of ladies who unfortunately have caused some issues, some backlash. They've got some backlash because of some comments that they've made concerning black women. I mean, actually black men. But actually, let me take this at another angle. Because something Dion and I have been talking about for a while, and I've been meaning to
Uh-oh.
really dig into this on the show, has to do with the black femicide, right?
Okay.
And for those of you who aren't familiar, femicide is just like genocide or any other side. It's the mass murder of a particular gender, specifically the female gender of a group. Okay. So this issue of black femicide it's been an issue within the black community for a very long time. And part of the reason why I get so irritated when I hear people um, talk about, different things concerning Black women and the protection of Black women, not, then characterizing Black women in certain ways, is when I see things like the second bullet point. Black females historically have experienced intimate partner violence at rates higher than white females. Um, there's somewhere in this report, and this is an 8-page report, and this one was from 2009. I'm sure there's one that's more up to date, but Black women are currently being killed, usually by a Black male. Every The last number I remember hearing was 5.5 hours a day. A Black woman is killed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my issue when I hear things like that, my issue is when you have situations like that, and then we have situations where a black man is, what do we call it? Red punched by his preference. Like, what was the young man's name? Christian, and I forget his last name. We talked about him last week.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, just like I said, you know what? I don't have too much to say about it. That's not my business. There are
Right.
actually people trying to guilt black women into coming out and putting on some sort of protest for this person.
Right. The young man who was killed by his
Hmm.
Instagram model,
Hmm.
white girlfriend,
Yes.
who made
Yes.
the statements about black women and how he doesn't date them.
Hmm. Hmm. So this other stat: black females are 4 times more likely than white females to be murdered by a boyfriend or girlfriend. 4 times as likely. So in general, we know for the most part, black women date black men for the most part,
Mm-hmm.
larger majority than black men who specifically focus on dating their own racial counterpart. So suffice it to say, most of these women who are being killed, these black women who are being murdered by their intimate partners are black, but you don't hear black men attempting to stop this. There are some men, like Kevin Samuels, who
Mm-hmm.
advocate for domestic discipline. You ever heard of domestic discipline? I'll have to go back and when you get it, whenever you do a reply, I'm gonna go back and find that clip. But basically, in this clip, um, apparently Kevin was saying something to the effect that, say, if you and your significant other get into it, you all get into an argument. If it gets to a
Hmm.
point where he feels you should just be quiet, stop, fall back, there's a safe word involved. In that video that I'm referring to, the word was banana split. So if the man says banana split and you guys are having an argument, if you don't back down, he's be it within his rights to smack you.
Yeah. So growing up, some of the old school, I call them 60s and 70s and early 80s men,
Hmm.
those type of men, they called it, they had this awful name, they call it wig check. And they had this joke like, I'm gonna, wig check her to see how tight her wig is on, meaning they're gonna smack her in the head. And yeah, that was horrible.
Hmm. And this was also the same video where well, it might not have been the same video, but he also said, um when it comes to children and accusations of child abuse, if a child accuses your man, your husband, of child abuse, you shouldn't believe the child because children lie all the time.
Mm,
And he goes so far as to say, well, what about our other children? What about what's going to happen if you just believe this one child and you break up a family over one child's accusation? What about the other children? You don't think about those children?
yeah, that
And he was really going in on a woman that she was wrong
for
if you
listening
would
to
put
a child
her listen to your child
accusation.
and wanting to follow through with protecting her child. He
I've
really
seen
said that.
situations like that, and I always believe that you should listen to the child because if the child was coaxed,
Hmm.
when you sit there with a child and give them something to play with and get them comfortable and get them talking, if a
Hmm.
child is coaxed, a child will let it out
Yes.
or give. You can tell when a child was coaxed. They'll give. Well, I'm not supposed to say this. I'm not
Hmm.
supposed to do this. So you can tell when they were coached. So that's why I always believe like listen to them. You know, get them comfortable. And if they were coached, you can tell. But you don't never want to sweep that under the rug, right?
Hmm.
So
Sorry, I had to mute myself. I had a little cough. So, touching back, see trends in fatal intimate partner violence between 93 and '07. The number of homicide victims in the U.S. fell 31%, with somewhat of a greater decline for females. And so, this next part of the report talks about that decline. And there was some decline seen when it comes to, let's see, oh, here we go. It's at the bottom. The number of black female homicide victims killed by intimate partners fell 39% between 93 and 2007. The number of white female homicide victims killed by intimate partners fell 21%. So that was a positive trend. From 93 to '07, the rate of homicide by spouse declined 58% for black women. Da, da, da. Over the same period, the rate of homicide by boyfriend or girlfriend fell 42% for black females and 15%. Okay. And then this goes into children witnessing intimate partner violence. So let's see. Demographic characteristics of intimate partner violence victims and defendants in 16 large counties. Race,
hmm
Black, Hispanic. Victims, 26.4% were Black, non Hispanic. Defendants, 33.5%. So black men and white men, non-Hispanic, had very similar percentages as to the offenses. Let's see.
So we have so okay. You're
Mhm.
saying so the report saying that black men and Hispanic men are close in the
No,
number
black
of
and
offense.
white. Black and white.
Black and white. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Hispanic is a 3% difference. Even
Hmm.
though the percentage of Hispanics who were victims is higher than blacks.
Okay.
Yeah. But you can be black and Hispanic.
Yeah, that's
Depends
true.
on which one. You can be white and Hispanic. But again, well, I guess this is outside numbers because it specifically says non-Hispanic.
Are
Uh,
there does the report go into detail whether there's something like uh different causalities or whatnot for higher rates in the black community?
well, why are there more rapes in the black community?
Yeah, that why is there do they give any explanation possible causes?
I'll scroll down once I get past some of these numbers. We'll see. I'm not
Hmm.
sure. But right here, black females experience higher rates of rape or sexual assault in 2008 than white females and other races. 2.9 compared to 1.2 and zero point 0.9 for every 1,000 females aged 12 or older.
Hmm.
Not just women, but girls. 12 and older. And I'm scanning. I'm doing a quick scan now. And I'll make sure to include this in the description. Females were at a higher risk of stalking victimizations. We saw that. We saw a couple of cases of that earlier this year. That woman who was trying to get into her apartment in New York, and this man
Right, I
like
remember.
just stalking her, trying to run into the apartment behind her, and that happened to like two or three women. It wasn't just that one incident where that was happening. So, my issue when it comes to situations like that young man, like I said, I know some might find it hard to believe. I'm sad that the young man died. He's young. He might have been going through one of his stupid stages. We all have a stupid stage. It is what it is.
Hmm.
He may have ended up changing his mind later in life. Who knows? However, considering what he said about black women, there's no reason for us to support anything that has to do with finding justice for his murder. I mean, it's obvious who did it. Now, his preference comes from a social class and from basically a social class that has more protections than any other woman in this society.
Pretty much.
They know to cry crazy.
Yeah. Because after we saw what happened when the little white lady
Mhm,
that was van dwelling with her boyfriend,
mhm,
she turned up missing and the whole world stopped. I want to say there were like big issues going around in the world, like bigger issues. The whole world stopped till they
mhm,
found this lady. And I mean, they found her quick.
mhm.
Dog the bounty hunter was on the
Yeah,
case and all kinds of stuff.
yeah.
So, yeah. And I don't know how much justice we're going to get for that guy because if there's no video and she says that he assaulted her
Mhm.
and it's a crime of passion, I mean, what they gonna do? I mean, I just I don't see her getting convicted.
No, not at all.
Period. So I mean, it's sad. I mean, but if there's no video, it's just
Mhm,
we just have her story.
mhm.
And sadly, and I don't want to sound cold or blunt, but the truth of the matter is we got her story in his body,
Yeah.
and he can't talk.
Nope. He
So,
said enough, unfortunately.
well, yeah, unfortunately on Twitter.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And it's sad when I see these numbers, and it reminds me. I had this girlfriend, and she asked me to take her sister home, and I took her sister home one day, and her sister was telling me black. They were both black, and her sister was telling me about her boyfriend.
Mhm.
And this guy, from what she was telling me, this guy was horrible, and he was crazy. And when I
Mhm.
got to her house, I stopped the car and I turned to her and I said, "Baby, if I were you, I'd get out of that relationship like right now. He
Yeah.
sounds crazy, and he sounds like he will kill you."
Mhm.
One day, I get a call
No.
from her friend and says, that Negro strangled her to death in front of the kids, went and sat down on the couch, called the cops, and told the cops to come get him.
Mm.
And I always felt bad. I was like, did I not? Did could I stress more to her, or because I stopped the car, turned the engine off, and looked at it, and like, if I were you, I'd get out of that relationship. He sounds crazy. He sounds like he's gonna kill you.
Mm. Mm.
And
Mm.
I'm like, maybe I should have stressed that a little more or something.
Mhm.
But he strangled her to death in front of the kids.
Mm.
And that was probably, I want to say he probably did 10 years. He did a decade in jail.
Mm.
Because I want to say that was probably 18 years ago. And he got out a few years back. I want to say he only pulled a decade in jail
That's sad.
after strangling somebody to death in
That's
front of the kids.
that's
Yeah.
sad. And see,
And
it's oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, and I could think of other incidents from, that happened, where unfortunately a black woman got killed, and it's
Mhm.
sad. But yeah,
That's
those numbers are sobering.
very. And
Yeah.
we have this phenomenon going on, and I know I bring him up all the time. KS Kitten Hill Samuels or whatever. Whatever they're calling him these days. And it's the Black Manosphere is basically, from what I can gather, is a spinoff or branch of just the Manosphere in general. And these people are dangerous.
MGTOW.
MGTOW, all of
Yeah.
that, men going their own way. And these people are dangerous. And they've shown up in a few major news articles, and
Hmm.
the Department of Justice is watching them. Like, this was something that was tripping me out. I found this article on Newsweek. I'm going to share this with you. Let me
Well,
get back.
I've always told you my theory of a lot of men who are deep into MGTOW, which is,
Mm-hmm.
those who don't know that terminology, is men going their own way,
Mm-hmm.
believe that men are giving up on having meaningful relationships with women, and they're doing their own thing or
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. So, but I told you the manosphere and a lot of people in the manosphere and the MGTOW movement, when you look at them, they tend to, and I ain't making generalizations, they tend to be about 40 some years old. They reach, that point, there's, in a man's life, you reach that point where you're like 40, a little chubby, a little dumpy. And to me, it looks like a lot of them are men who don't get that much attention from women,
Mm-hmm.
and they tend to get a little bitter
Mm-hmm.
about that. And I know some people who they're always bitter about, how they talk about bitter black women. There's
Mm-hmm.
some bitter black men who are mad because they they play PlayStation all day long. They have a middling job where they don't. It's not a bad job. It's not necessarily a good job,
Mm-hmm.
and really, they're. It's like they feel entitled, like I'm entitled to a good, a nice looking woman, whatnot, whatever. When they're like middling, like they're not
Yes.
great, and and they're bitter about it, right? And they're
Mm-hmm.
really bitter. and they believe all of this. They believe the problem is the women, and they don't believe that the problem lies with you, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and you know, that's my for like that's a lot I see a lot of too. So, I
Mhm.
mean, if you want an outstanding woman, uh, maybe you need to
Yeah, step your game
become an
up.
outstanding man. Yeah, step your game up, lose some weight, right? Lose
Mhm.
some weight, run, get on the treadmill, thin up a little bit, do some facial care, keep your hair cut real good,
Mhm.
brush off that resume,
Yep.
you know,
Yep.
network, just do the
Basically.
things. If you want better,
Do
do
better.
better, you know.
Mhm.
I see women do it all the time, right?
Mhm.
I see women who they lost the weight, went nursing school. You know, they were like doing bad before, but now, you know, they're
Mhm.
professional and they branched out. So I see a lot of women do the come up thing.
Yeah.
And men sometimes not so many of my male friends do the come up thing. They sit around and complain. But
Mhm.
until you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, you're just gonna be bitter like that.
Yeah.
Right? So it's easy to point the finger like women ain't ish. Women ain't
Mhm.
it because don't nobody want you, right? And I
Yeah.
mean, when you look at when you do introspection on yourself, and you say, "Well, I don't want me." Sometimes you can be like, if I was a woman, I wouldn't want me,
I wouldn't want me
right?"
either. Yeah.
so so you gotta do that, but and don't become bitter about it, right? But go ahead. I'm
Mhm.
sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. My understanding is that incel stands for an involuntary celibate. So,
Involuntary. This is new to me. And you know,
yeah.
I tend to watch those videos and try to keep abreast of what's going on.
Mhm.
Involuntarily celibate.
Yeah. Yeah. That's my understanding of
And
what
it's a
incel.
group.
Yeah. Like it's well, no, 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 no. That's what people started calling them, and they just kind of adopted
Oh,
it. Yeah, involuntary celibate. That's what incel
I didn't
stands
even
for.
know there's a word.
Yeah. Hmm.
I'm
So this,
involuntarily celibate. Well, let me stop.
well, I mean, you're not doing in the examples
Well,
that
no,
we're
I'm
about
not.
to see.
Yeah.
This is not you. Okay, so this is a Newsweek article from last month. Incel violence, misogynistic extremism on the rise. Secret Service warns. So the
So
Secret
I was
Service,
right. So I was right. My theory
abs-
about who these people are, like, just
absolutely,
they're mad because want nobody give them any.
yeah, basically. So, a new Secret Service report released on Tuesday details the growing threat of violent attacks towards women from men who call themselves involuntary celibates or incels. So, apparently, they've adopted the term. The 26-page report was published by the Secret Service's National Threat Assessment and focuses on deadly examples of recent incel related attacks on women. According to the report, the term incel is often used to describe, quote, men who feel unable to obtain romantic or sexual relationships with women to which they feel entitled to. You hit it on the head,
I was
okay?
right.
Incels represent a type of misogynistic extremism that can also be referred to as anti feminist, the study added. Now, there's another article, and I can't quite find it. I'm gonna see if I can do some of my Google magic. But there's like this this young lady who went on a date, and
Hmm.
she ended up going on a date with someone. I guess they met online or something, and they were just meeting up. And this person was an avid Kitten Hills follower, and certain terms, started shooting out. Incel was one of them. Manosphere was another. Red pill. Um, what's that phrase? Fit, feminine, and friendly. Whatever. That's one of
High
Kitten Hill.
value
High
man.
value. Yeah, high value this. High value that. Yeah, all of those are associated with this situation. This gender-based
Involuntary.
ideology, sometimes referred to as male supremacy, has received increased attention in recent years from researchers, government agency, and advocacy groups due to its association with high-profile incidents of mass violence, it read. Now, that takes us to this situation. Y'all see this lovely specimen of man?
I mean, he
Yeah.
looks like. I mean, and this is my point
Where's
exactly.
the
When you see the picture of
picture?
that guy,
Oh, where
uh,
did he go?
he looks like a black Uncle Fester. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, this guy.
So,
He was, maybe this is the one I'm trying to get to. Yeah. The suspect in last week's attack, Frank James. So Frank James shot up a subway platform in New York City. He posted hundreds of video rants that included racist and violent language. Adams called on social media companies to do more to identify and remove this type of speech from their platforms. I guess this is getting into that whole thing that happened with Facebook and with the election and everything. But I'm trying to find like the actual report. What's his name? Frank James. Here we go. This guy. Yeah, there he is. You're right. He looks like the Black Uncle Fester.
like black Uncle Fester.
Mm-hmm.
How old is he?
63, 62.
Oh, he's 62. So what?
Mm-hmm. Let's see what the article says. Let me get rid of some of this mess. The suspect in Tuesday's violent rampage in New York City subway system was arrested Wednesday, authorities announced. Police had been looking for Frank James, 62, since tying a U-Haul van they say he rented to Tuesday's subway shooting. 10 people were shot and wounded in the attack, and over a dozen more suffered other injuries. James is facing a federal terrorism charge and a possible punishment of life in prison, authorities said. Police are still investigating the motive behind the attack that happened during Tuesday morning's rush hour. James was arrested Wednesday afternoon in Manhattan's East Village neighborhood after police received a tip. New York Police Commissioner Chishant Sewell told reporters. James was taken into custody without incident, Sewell said. So, yeah, that's the face of the manosphere right there. He had a YouTube channel. He did Kitten Hill review videos. He did rants about women, specifically black women. He hated us too.
Mm.
So this is what, when we say protect black women, this is the kind of foolishness that we're talking about. Because if there weren't so many platforms out there, not just on YouTube, but if there just weren't so many platforms where people were allowed to just go and spew all this hate towards us and talk trash about us the way they do, this would not be as much of an issue.
But
But
the
then
problem
again,
with
it
that
doesn't
is,
start with here. It didn't start with recent. I mean, look at the media, look at the images of black women that have been going on since TV began. And a lot of times, like
right.
I've mentioned before, black men are actively participatory in it. It's like it's a
Um,
competition. And I don't
he-
get that. It's weird.
Here's the thing, and I told you before, the internet has been a blessing and a curse, especially YouTube. Right?
Mhm.
YouTube has given people platforms that they probably should not have had. And when you start talking about, oh, let's deplatform these people, then you run into free speech or something like that, where, you know, and I could think, so one of the early people, and he had a clear hatred of women, is Tommy Sorta. I don't know if I should,
Sotomayor.
can
Mhm.
yeah, can I say it? Well, yeah, Tommy Sotomayor.
Oh, no, don't
And
say
I
it. He can
mean,
be very
he
vindictive.
had a deep seated
When you
hatred.
edit this, please do not say his name. I'm not trying to deal with him, okay?
Okay,
It's like he can
yeah,
smell his name and he just comes
he
running.
he called in one video. I tried to count how many times he said black bitch's, and I mean, jeez, this guy, and oh, he would get worked up. Him. and then your boy got into it. But here's my problem with it is, what do you call them? Kitten?
In sales. Oh, Kitten
No.
Heels. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Kevin Samuels.
Yes, Kitten Heels. Mm-hmm.
Kitten Hills. Okay, I'll
Yes.
edit that out. So Kitten Hills. And here's a problem with YouTube. I think a lot of people like, remember I told you, like, that's why there's so many fake preachers out there,
Oh, because they
because they
can
found out.
disappear and
Yeah, my theory, they found out there's money in the gospel, right? Like, there's money in church, right? You can,
hmm
it's tax free. You can make money. And Kitten Hill started out doing fragrances for men
yeah, I
and
was
a
gonna say he was like
fashion
an image coach
consultant,
or something. Yeah.
right? And coaching. And then I think he discovered that he got more interaction and more views when he started talking about manosphere and all of that high dollar men and stuff. And so when
hmm
people find out that this is a thing, it's like they run with it. Like a he to me, he is like a crooked preacher, right?
hmm
He found his audience, he found his ministry, his
hmm
his message. He stays on message, and he got his shtick, and he is running with it. He's in, want to say Future's video. I'm gonna have to find that. I'm gonna have to fact check it, but he's in one of the rappers' videos. Like, people are referencing him, sports people are referencing him, and I lie to you not. I'm sitting here waiting for him to be on Fox News or somebody announce he either has his own radio show or his own television show. I guarantee you it's coming. And he may water his message down or water it down a little bit for television, but I guarantee you he has, I put it like this, he has shown them the way, right? He's like a more polished version of Tommy Sotomayor, right? He took it and ran with it and kind of sort of, he's one of those people who can put some polish on it and make it palatable. He's like one of those Republicans that give you that, like, they're dangerous, where they can take, it's racist, but they can kind of sort of reel you in with, it's about not racism, it's about embetterment, empowering you and the black race to do that thing. You know, they can package it up and hand it to you, and you're like, oh, okay, maybe, he's one of those guys, right? He's brought it to the masses and he showed these fools the way, and they're running with it. Everybody's got a channel, right? Everybody's getting into the manosphere, and what, Fresh and Fit, and there's
They some
several,
more.
huh?
They some more.
Yeah, and there's plenty of them, right? Plenty of them, and it's sad. And I told you, like, I just think it's bad. This is bad for black love, black relations between men and women. These people and what they're teaching this young generation, it's bad.
Well, you know what? I gotta give it to the young women. I gotta give it to them. They not tolerating it. They not tolerating it at all. The BWE spaces and these young ladies who are under 40, they are
Hmm.
not tolerating it at all. Like, these ladies are like, look, um, the first hint of dusty incelish behavior. No, absolutely not. No.
Right. So everybody's taking up arms, right? Like, so.
No, it's less of a arms. It's just they're just not tolerating it. And so they are looking elsewhere. Like, these young ladies, there is nothing holding them back from marrying out. If you thought the last 50, 60, 100 years was an influx of black men marrying out, honey, you wait, give it 10 years. You're going to be like, hold up, where did all the black girls go? Where all the every time I see a black woman, she with somebody that's not black.
I
I'm telling
always
you.
see that. Like the ones I like, they're with white men.
And it's going to continue. These young girls are not playing. They
So
are not
I
playing.
can't say that I blame them because it's a mess out there, man. Right
Mhm,
now, and he's got reach. I can't tell you how many times. You know how you sitting somewhere
mhm.
and you're waiting on your order and you hear two black people talking and you start hearing them talk about Kevin Samuels and black men, and they're like, Kevin Samuel, this Kevin, and you're like, oh my gosh, he's really out
Everywhere.
there. Like he's reaching these people. He's
And
got
he's
over a
all
million
over the place.
followers.
It's crazy. I don't understand it. Every time I see a video with him or his face in it, except
Hmm.
for if it's one of the other people that I watch that are critiquing a piece of something, do not recommend channel to me.
Right. And
Don't.
and another thing, it's like people who are racist and they blame their plot in life on black people.
Mhm.
And that's how it is. Like and like I feel like a lot of men like, well, it's not my fault.
It's my mama fault. It's black women's fault for
Black
taking the
women fall.
scholarship.
Oh,
It's black
Tommy. Oh my
women's
God.
fault because they took all of the business seed money. It's black women's fault because they go in class and they make, high grades, and so they eat up all the scholarships. It's black women's fault because she want to be a boss bee. Oh
Right.
no,
And
not
then
even
there's
black women. It's black females. Like you don't even like female. That whole female thing irks my soul because it's like, hold on, wait. A female is a classification of the sex of a species within a species. But I'm a woman though. Why is
mhm.
this is just a little rant, and it won't last long, but it just irritates me when I hear someone refer to a woman as female and then immediately refer to a male as a guy or him, just a man.
Yeah.
They give the humanity to the man, but the female, the woman is denied her humanity by being referred to as a woman, as female instead of woman.
And another thing, another class of those men are the ones who made it because they child support. The child support ones. And that's a whole nother people are making uh a whole nother living off of those. The channels about child support and black women taking me. I didn't want the baby. I shouldn't be required to pay child
Then
support.
get a vasectomy, sir. Watch
So
where you
yeah,
stick yourself.
that's that whole other class. I shouldn't be responsible. I didn't want the baby. I had no say in the baby coming. You decided to
Yes,
have
you
that
did.
baby.
You absolutely did. You
Yeah.
chose to put your partner there.
And I'm like, condoms are like $5 for a
Thank you.
36 pack.
Thank you.
So
Absolutely. Or better yet, oh, I think I want to have intercourse with you. Are you on birth control? Yes or no? That
simple as that.
conversation probably lasted longer than they did in bed. But I'm just saying.
But yeah, that's a whole nother class in the manosphere. The people mad at child support.
And
And
I don't get that part. Like, I don't understand it.
and then you got people like the lead attorney. He's pretty
Oh.
much me and protect yourself, prenups, child support. Like
Child, I wish my husband would have. You want a what?
a prenup.
You
I
want
would
prenup?
definitely sign a prenup. If a woman was rich, I'm like, I have absolutely no problem signing the prenup at all. I'd sign it. All right. Even, I don't want your money. All right. So yeah, I would sign it in a heartbeat. What's yours is yours. What's mine is mine. Cool. Let's sign it. Uh so
Mm, I'm
and I would definitely say I met a woman like so I'm 46. And say I met a woman today and she had 2 children and she already had a house or something like that,
mhm,
and I didn't,
mhm.
and we decided to get married, and if something happened to her, if she wanted, like, say she had adult children
Mhm.
that house that she had, if she wanted instead of that to go to me, she wanted to go to her adult children. I
That
understand
makes
that,
sense. That makes total
huh?
sense to me. That makes sense to me,
Yeah,
but that could just be
and
put in a will.
yeah, that'll be in the will, and I'm like, yeah, sure, fine. You know that I get that.
Mhm.
You know, vice versa. If I had children from a previous relationship and I want this to go to them and not necessarily you, that's fine. Why not?
Mhm.
Whatever. So prenups aren't bad, and I
I
do
would
get that.
I would be, and I guess because I'm already married and I know me and my husband came in with nothing together.
And you built together. That's something
Yeah.
different.
That's why I'm just my immediate response is excuse me? Sir, I was right there with you from the beginning. No. But I could see in some
Hmm.
situations where that would be needed. Or it would be a benefit or whatever. So I'm not, against all prenups. Not at all.
No.
But I don't know. Like I guess my other thing is considering the lack of wealth
Hmm.
that the black community, and I use that term oh so loosely and with all the tongue and cheek, has. It still behooves me that so many regular, everyday, ordinary black men
I got a tweet for you after you say what you got to say.
are afraid of the supposed gold digger. Like, sir, child support is not gold digging.
Right. It's
You
like the bare
know,
minimum.
the very bare minimum. You know, wanting the part, and I mentioned this in our a couple of podcasts ago. This performative patriarchy is what gets me because black men want this tradition, and again, I'm speaking in general terms. In general, they want this traditional facade where the man
Hmm.
leads and the woman is subservient. But in real life, it doesn't work that way because in order to lead, you have to actually have a job, a career, a business of some sort that's generating enough income to cover the expenses of your entire family. That's how it works in a traditional patriarchal type setting, right? But we
Hmm.
know in the black community it's flipped. More than likely, that woman is making 30 to 50,000, if not a whole $100,000 more than her husband.
Hmm.
Why? Because black women, I mean, we're the most educated, so we get those upper management jobs. The
Hmm.
Katanji Browns. You know,
Right.
and so when we're in those situations, and you're married to a man who somewhere in the back of his mind is that still wanting. Sorry, I got my plants out here, and plant mama fungus gnats kind of go hand in hand. I gotta go kill those. Anyway, um, that whole wanting to be treated like the sole provider in the patriarchal serve thing, but you only bringing in 50,000 and your wife bringing in 120, and she's putting in them long hours, and you really expect her to come home and cater to you, sir. And
Mm.
that's how it is in a lot of marriages.
Yeah, I
I
get
do
it. And
taxes. I
but
see it
yeah,
all the time.
but going back to child support, I know people that complain about $350 a month, and I have to
That's
say,
bad.
like, look, you don't even have the kid all the time, right? You get
Mm-mm.
the kid on the weekend, so the mama has them like 5 days a week. They're
Uh-huh.
doing the potty training and all of that, and all the leg work. You get the kid on the weekend, and then you take them to putt golfing games or Frankie's, and
If they
and it's
even do that, a lot of
if
times
you
if they're
if they even
single,
do that, right, and
a
you
lot of
just
times
do
if they're
stuff,
single, they just take them to their mama house.
right, and you just get the kid, whatnot, whatever on the weekend, and you got a whole kid, and you don't have the responsibilities of raising that kid 5 days a week. You just get them every other weekend, and then you mad that you paying $350 when that is not that much in
That don't even count. That don't even cover a whole weekend in daycare.
daycare.
Not at all.
Right. Not at all. And I'm like 350. I could see if you're paying $1,000 for one kid a
Hmm.
month or something like that's a lot of money, right? That's some money you can feel. But
Yeah.
if your child support is $1,000, geez, you making you making up there, right?
But see, even that sometimes falls back on the wife because let's say this man is making 30, $40,000, marrying somebody that makes 80 to 100,000. That child support is now based on the household income.
Okay.
And so again, a black woman is taking
Mhm.
up the slack.
Okay. But remember I was telling you I saw this tweet that said, please, black men, please stop using the term you can't turn a hoe into a housewife when you don't have a house to put the hoe in.
Thank you.
I
Thank
thought
you,
I started to screenshot that and send it to you.
honey. Absolutely. And a lot of times, suffice it to say, these supposed hoes or sex workers, honey, they work and save and put that stuff to the side so they buy their own house.
Pretty
So they
much.
don't need you to make them a housewife. I mean, these, like I said, ain't too many pimps these days. These
No,
ladies
the
taking
internet.
care of
I think the
themselves.
internet did away with the pimp game.
Good. They got their OnlyFans and they got the
Yeah,
whoever they need
OnlyFans
and they're buying
and
their own, so they don't need you to turn them into anything in the house. They got their own house.
they seem to. I don't know why they pick on me on Facebook dating, but that seems to all to be in my DMs on Facebook dating.
You
And
got to
you're
change
like,
your
oh,
settings. You
yeah.
got to
I
change your settings.
in my profile, I've got seeking like a long term relationship, like no flings and nothing like that.
Oh,
But
this is on. Oh, I hadn't been on that side
Facebook
on
dating,
Facebook
yeah,
dating. Okay, I haven't been over there.
that's all I get. Or
Well, they gotta,
you
they
know,
gotta, they gotta make a living
straight
too.
up proposition.
Well,
Yeah, so I'm
I ain't
like,
gonna. I'll leave you alone. I'll leave you
so
alone.
I was like, I must look desperate. I'm gonna change my profile pictures or something. I look like a mark or something. Self
I don't
conscious
think
about
that's
that.
what it
Like, why?
is.
Why they all mean so much?
I don't think that's what it is. I don't think
Okay,
that's what
like,
it
do I look desperate? Like they're like, look at him. He look pitiful.
is. Mm, mm,
He
mm.
looked like he's involuntarily celibate.
You are not
No,
an incel.
I'm not
I
an
would
incel.
not at
No, 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 no,
all.
no.
No, no,
No,
no.
I'm not. I'm not.
Mm,
I'm not.
mm, mm. So, with all of that, we've got the incel violence. We've got, this guy James Franks or Frank James or whatever his name was up in New York with his channel, and it's tiring because again, like I said at the beginning of my segment, I had originally planned on going in on two particular women, but I'm not going to go in on them.
You
I'm
gonna
just
let
going
that
to
be?
mention I'm just going to mention their names,
Okay.
what was said. I'm not going to go there. Uh the first one is Tina Knowles. A few weeks ago, may have been a couple months ago back now, she did a docu series concerning what was the name of it? Profile the Black Man.
Mm,
There's a huge black backlash from especially young black women considering the femicide rates, considering out of between black women and black men have had the most control over their image in the media, and black men historically have portrayed black women in a negative light in the media. So the perceptions of things, the profile of them has been of their own creation.
and Tina Knowles did this docu series.
Hmm. Hmm. And the backlash was so strong that there was a one of those change.org
Petitions to have it.
petitions, and it got well over 10,000 signatures. I was one of them. So, and I think it was it Netflix it was supposed to come out on? I don't want to click on one of these and it just like opens up. Um and so, in her docu-series, she of course included her beloved son-in-law,
Jay Z.
Jay-Z. Now, it's interesting that in this docu-series, she made different points about how she didn't like it when people assumed that he was a thug and, he was this, he was that. But I remember Jay-Z's early videos and
I remember
songs.
his early music. Yeah.
Yes, so that's what he was putting out there. So why wouldn't she expect that image? Or for that, for people who did not necessarily know him, but were semi familiar with his career, why wouldn't they think he was a thug? He put it out there like that.
Yeah. Very much so. Very in great detail, poetic
Mm-hmm.
detail too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So you have that, and I was so sad when I saw this because I liked it to a point, and she was the only character on Martin that I felt bad for, but now that I'm seeing now that I'm seeing what she put out there, I think she's along in the same vein as Tina Knowles. So Tanisha Arnold,
Mm-hmm.
probably best known as Pam from Martin.
Pam, BDB.
Yeah, she. There
I
you
know, Martin.
go.
That's why Martin called her. Okay, he called her
I ain't like.
BDB.
I did not like that show. I hated that show.
That show
So
was silly though. It really was.
me and my husband almost had an argument over that show. I walked away because he loved it. We first got married. He had like the whole DVD set and stuff. And just like anything else, he would sit down, put DVDs in, and start watching it. He would be cracking up. And trying to be the good little wife, I just let it be. I just wouldn't sit down and watch it with him. And one day he asked me why, and I was like, because I can't stand that show. I don't like Martin's character. I don't know. I don't like how he picks on Pam. I don't like that, and I don't like
Calling her
his
BDB
characters.
with the yeah. And
I don't like
Shanae, that's a
none of that.
whole
Couldn't stand
Shanae was
Shanae.
a
And
whole
so he's
nother.
like, why can't you just enjoy something? Why you gotta look? This is just how I am. I was like, I have not said anything to you. You enjoy your show. Please leave me alone. I will not participate in it with you. And that was the argument where the argument happened. So yeah, that was a pretty interesting introduction to his wife's to
But
how
what did
deep
Pam
his wife
say?
will go. Well, hold on, wait. Let me get back to it. Dang it. I clicked on something to exit out.
I like Pam. I
Okay.
thought she was cute.
So I thought she was too.
She
This
thought
says
she looked
Tashina
better
Arnold.
than
She
yeah.
definitely looked better than Gina.
Yeah, I
I mean,
really
and this
did.
ain't no hate to Gina, but honey, Gina's head was way too big for her body. Like, she was she's a cute girl, but proportion wise, Tashina looks much better. So Tashina Arnold is criticized on Twitter after asking how black women can stop the quote emasculinization of black men in America. Tashina, why? Why? Why is that a question? And why is that something that black women would do?
Mm.
So, like I said, these young girls, these millennials,
Mm-hmm.
they they not here for the foolishness. And something that I respect about Tashina is her response. She she was gracious in her response after she got the different replies. And so she said much later And she's still reading comments, and she says, whew, two thoughts. One, despite all, I will never be fearful of asking anyone questions. Two, the black man and woman needs to heal together. That part I don't necessarily agree with. We are up against a plethora of odds that are continually stacked against us, but it won't change my love for all of us. So some of the replies, let me see if it'll open up for me, because I don't even know if I got a Twitter account half the time. Um let's see. Da. Yeah, I'm not Twitter. I'm not Twitter.
I'm not a fan of Twitter at all.
Yeah,
Right.
I
I
don't like
love
to set up.
Instagram, but Twitter to me, I always said when it came to Twitter,
Mhm.
Twitter is what it would feel like if you had the ability to read minds, but you couldn't turn it off.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of things coming at you, and you're like, what? With no context to it.
Mhm.
I'm up there because, you know, the news part, something will come up, this person died or something. But other than that, I don't use it.
So here's some of
Now,
the
I will
replies.
watch a television show. I will watch a television show
Mhm.
and turn on the Twitter stream. Now, that is hilarious to watch a show, something like
Mhm.
90 Day Fiance, and
Okay.
then follow the Twitter stream because people will have you crying. It's hilarious.
I may try that. So here's some of the replies. Somebody said, "Lord, not you." Well, you first have to stop thinking that black men in America are being emasculated. Another reply to Tashina Arnold. We as black women are not responsible for the image that black men have created for themselves. I wish people would stop placing this responsibility on us. Serious question. Oh, yeah. This is someone else with an alternate serious question. How are black women not responsible when you are the ones helping raising black boys? Please explain. I'm a little confused. Well, if their fathers were there. Hmm. Wow. Aboriginal Black Roots made that.
Oh man, Aboriginal Black. That's their username. Uh-oh,
Mhm.
Hotel morning.
And so then there was like, yeah, hotel warning. Then there's this conversation about shifting the blame. And then some, and like this guy, Aboriginal, whoever, was saying that women are responsible because they raised them. And so someone says, here you are shifting the blame of absent fathers to single mothers. What a joke. So this is another argument. Even the term single mothers it's a shift to it, because the mom is there. The mother is there being accountable to raise the child. But the verbiage single mother, more people are looking at, this younger generation are looking at absent father home or fatherless home, because that's the situation. Because when you say single mother, you have that image of a young woman, probably struggling a little bit, right?
Hmm.
Kid on her hip.
Right.
What image do you have in your head when you think absent father?
Oh well, most people when you say absent father, they're thinking, the mother took the child from him.
And that's usually not the case.
Right.
Like,
They're absent because they want to be absent.
mhm,
Like
exactly.
they just don't want to deal with the
Mhm.
responsibility.
Trifling, just irresponsible, da 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 da. So instead of using the terminology single mother, because the mother is actually being accountable for her actions, she's raising the child that was conceived, and she gave
Hmm.
birth to the child, right?
Right.
Absent father, the more you say it, the more that image of what the actual problem is, the one who is not accountable.
Oh, yeah.
See?
So yeah, like yeah, all sorts of responses. And so, just the question itself, it boggles my mind why that question wouldn't even be asked.
Did she give an example of how the black women are emasculating?
No, 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 no.
I I saw something. I'm on the internet and I'm watching this video and they show that picture. Um, it's Joe Biden, and I want to say on his right side is Katanji, and on his left side is Vice President
Harris.
Kamala Harris, right?
Hmm.
And somebody snapped a picture. It looks like one of them stage pictures where Joe Biden's walking in the front and they're doing a power walk beside him, and somebody's making this argument. See, that's what white establishment wants to do is turn the black women against the black men and separate the two and stuff like that. And they went all deep with it, and I'm like, oh gosh, it gives me a headache. And I'm like, that's not what's going on here at all. So
Now, Dion, you
that's
tell
what,
me. We grew up in the same generation. Maybe it's something I missed. What? Oh gosh, were there just as many opportunities for? Do you feel for black men, young black men, when we were in high school, college, X, Y, and Z? Do you feel like the opportunities were equal between male and female, men and
yeah.
women, or
As far as ability to get an education, yeah,
yeah?
yeah. Because I do. Because when I came along, when I graduated in '94,
Hmm.
there was multiple avenues. Like you could go to the service and then go to school, or you can go directly to college. Pell Grant was jumping.
Hmm.
We had more opportunities to pay for college than our parents did,
Hmm.
and so it was wide open, especially I felt in the '90s. So if black men wanted to go, they could have went. A lot of my friends they didn't go, and I was like, hey, I'm trying to get them there. I'm like, man, it's wonderful,
Hmm.
and not a lot of them took that path. Some people um, took another path, be it service or whatnot, and eventually found their way to college. Some people
Hmm.
never went to college, but yeah, I think it was out there. You just got to go get it. And we shouldn't resent black women for going to get it. And I mean, I don't blame black women for getting educating themselves and stuff like that because I look at it like this, like a man like me. So I'm in the IT field. But if something happened and I couldn't work in the IT field, I'm still able bodied and have a good back. I can go out there and I can go work in construction and make plenty of money too. That's not
Hmm.
always the case for black women. Like you don't have this fallback of manual labor, so you have to get an education a lot of time because you have to fall back to like administrative jobs or like high level jobs. You can't just go out there and do and work anywhere like a man can.
Hmm.
So there is no choice for you, and you got to shore up
Yeah.
your livelihood. You got to. It's imperative that you shore up your livelihood, and if you got a child, livelihood of your child. So I get it. Like, and I don't blame black women for getting an education, right? I
Yeah.
encourage some of my younger female cousins to get a solid career that you can go to any city, like teaching, nursing, whatnot, where you can go anywhere, touchdown, and have a job that day,
Hmm.
and be gainfully employed, where you can have enough to pay your rent, right, and make a way
Hmm.
for yourself, and that way you're not beholden to little Ray Ray and them because you need somebody else to help you with that rent.
Hmm.
So, and I encourage it. So I don't blame them, and I don't think black women are emasculating black men, right?
I don't think so either. I
Yeah,
honestly
I just don't
think
see it. She needs to get. You can't just put that out there and not say, give us. What are you talking about? Like,
Mhm.
where is this coming from? Well, so
Especially a woman who was on a show where her character was constantly
buffoon.
dehumanized and buffooned by a black man. It was so irritating because I would look at the characters on the show and I'm like, okay. And again, this is not a dig at Gina, at Gina's character, but I ain't mean no harm, but Gina's hair, it looked like it was the same texture as Pam's.
Right, he did do that BDB all the time. So,
And
uh,
his mama, or well, him playing his mama, she looked like she would have had the same texture up on her wig. And if he was a woman, he had the same texture. And he called a woman a dog. A dog. He compared that woman to a dog on a regular basis. A horse. Like,
yeah, it's one of the things. It's one of those shows where you go back and look at it in retrospect. You're like, ooh, this was not that. It's kind of bad. It's like
it's
watching
terrible.
Archie Bunker or the Jeffersons. Some of the
Mm,
stuff they
no, no,
said,
no,
you're
no, no,
like,
no. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I see the point behind Archie Bunker. Archie Bunker and who was it? Good Times and the Jeffersons. They had a purpose, right? To just expose
When I
different
say that,
cultures
I'm
and
saying
stuff.
some of the stuff they said was like, you like, wow, today, like George Jefferson would call them honkies. Can
Yeah.
you imagine that? Just straight up calling them honkies and zebras and
But again, it was to a purpose because think about it. Prior to those shows, how many white folks really thought black folks talked about them like that? Like for
yeah,
real. So I think there was a purpose behind that one,
but
but
no
there is
purpose.
no purpose. It served no positive purpose to talk down to those women the way he did. I
Yeah.
mean, think about the scenes in the barber shop, in the beauty salon, using a doggone uh sander on Miss Jerry's feet
hmm Big Shirley.
again.
Yeah,
Exactly. It was,
yeah,
it just bothered me. And again, I know I'm the sensitive one. Like I'm not the one. I'm not for a lot of TV shows. I'm not for a lot of caricatures. They bother me that people find them entertaining because to me it shows some underlying agreements with it or lack of awareness, and it irritates me. So again, that's something I know I'm sensitive to. My friends and family knows don't certain movies unless it's just really just
yeah.
lighthearted. Don't take Nicole to them because she gonna tell
hmm
you what's in the hot dogs or she gonna
Well,
be
you
pissed.
you know I don't like Medea movies, so
Yeah,
I just don't. I
yeah.
can't, and I
I'll
never
tolerate
liked those
a
little
once
stage plays.
watch. I'll watch it once maybe, but it's all basic. Like you said, it's all basically the same play every single
Yeah,
time. The evil dark skinned dude is beating somebody or talking trash, stealing something, or
and then the light
molesting
skinned
somebody's child. The
Shamar
light
Moore
skinned
character
savior.
who loves
Mm-hmm.
Jesus comes in,
Uh-huh.
swoops them up, and save every time.
The low self esteem main character who's going through something, but she got to spend some time with her grandmama to knock some sense into her. The super holy niece or cousin, whatever. What's the name? Man, Tamara Man is playing. Yeah,
Somebody somebody told me that Brown was Cora's daddy. Like I didn't know that.
for a little while they thought Brown was Cora's daddy, but at the end of one of them movies, they went on Maury and did a DNA test, and that's when they found out that
Wow.
Cora was not his
No, they did
child.
not go on more
They
Cody.
did. Oh, Honey Medea was running around, rolling on the floor, acting all kinds of foolishness. She did the little video. You know how they had a little pre-video, whatever. They did all of that too. I'm telling you.
That's how much I watch Medea. I just don't watch that.
Like I said, I'll do it once over. I'll do it one. Okay, and I watch it on a platform where I am not paying for it.
Mm.
So yeah,
I'm gonna
I
have to go and watch this thing on Net. You said it's on Netflix with Tina Knowles.
yeah, I think it's Netflix. I could be wrong. I don't know. I haven't watched it. I heard about it and I was just like, I'm not surprised though.
I watched the docu series with Kanye West. That was actually really good. Okay, and let me preface that. Like, so the in the docu series before he made it to Kanye, like when he was really struggling,
Hmm.
he had befriended this guy that had a show on cable access. And when he was still, I want to say like a teenager, the guy started following him around with a camera. And Kanye just let this guy follow him around. This is before he made it. This is like
Hmm.
beginning Kanye when he was struggling. And over the years, he let the guy continue to follow him around. And the guy had footage from for like probably pretty much a decade.
Oh
And it
wow.
just followed Kanye through how he made the college dropout his
Hmm.
first album and how Kanye had to pretty much make his own video, right? And
Hmm.
force Dame Dash and them to release his album. It's really good. Right. This is
Okay.
before Kim Kardashian. And it chronicles his relationship with his mother,
I
which
was
was
gonna
very
ask.
sweet.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say it seemed
she's
like he
in
was a
it.
lot more stable when his mom was living.
He was stable. Yeah. Kanye was a totally different person. And this dude's video, he got video to up into the transition of Kanye from Kanye West to Jesus,
Kanye Kardashian.
Kanye Kardashian, Jesus, or whatnot, whatever. And yeah, it it is very good.
Okay.
It's very good. For because Kanye really worked his behind off to get to where he was. And
Hmm.
then he went off the rails, but from the beginning to the end, it's a
Hmm.
very good watch. I'll put it like that. But now I don't know if he's gonna do one from Jesus now you know to where Kanye is now. I don't know if he's
Hmm.
got that footage, but that's a very good docu series to watch.
Okay.
And I got a message. There's another one on Netflix, The Rise and Fall of Abercrombie and Fitch. I definitely want to watch that one.
Okay.
And the reason why I'm watching it is not that I ever shot the Abercrombie and Fitch, but
Hmm.
remember back in the 90s or so, um, the CEO, this weird guy, Jeffries or somebody,
Hmm.
he did not want
Black folks
pretty
wearing his stuff.
much fat children or ugly children and wearing his clothes
Hmm.
for the company. And they like discriminated against black children and stuff in the stores, having them work in the stores and
Hmm.
stuff like that. So that should be a good watch.
Okay.
So yeah, Netflix is where it's at. That's like the new HBO.
I don't know though. They supposedly they took down all the Will Smith stuff. I gotta confirm
Netflix,
that. Hmm.
they may have, Netflix is known to do stuff like that, you know,
Hmm.
and um, Monique wanted us to boycott Netflix, and I'm like,
Now you know what? In retrospect, she was blackballed.
she was,
She was blackballed.
and
Um,
they say, well, they pay Amy Schumer more money, and then I looked at it though, I was like, well, how how many people would have watched the Monique special? I wouldn't have.
I don't know. She got her fan base, but I mean,
She's got a fan base.
my whole thing with her blackballing though was my understanding is that Oprah and Tyler Perry were mixed up in her being blackballed. This wasn't just.
Recently, who was it? Oprah, Tyler Perry, and what's his name? Oh, I forgot. He recently apologized to her.
Yeah,
I saw an article about that. Lee Jeffries, the
Lee
producer and
Daniels.
writer, Lee Daniels. He
Hmm.
recently
What was the
apologized,
whole
and
beef about though?
they gave her the label as difficult to work with, right? Monique says that they wanted her to promote a movie on her own dime, meaning if they had a promotion in, say, Tallahassee, Florida, right? They wanted her to pay for her own plane ticket to get there and promote the movie. They didn't want to pay for her time to go and promote the movie, and she's like, I shouldn't have to do that for free, right?
Okay,
You should pay me for promotion, which I thought
makes
they
sense.
did anyway, right? I don't, I thought they paid her. I mean, if I made this movie, I know not unless that was in her contract. We're gonna pay you X amount of movie for this salary for this movie, and this includes these dates to promote
Hmm.
the movie. And maybe they did that, or maybe they didn't do it, but that was her thing. She was like, I didn't get paid for these promotions, and she didn't want to do them. She wanted to be paid, and they were
Hmm.
like, no, we're not paying you to do this. This is a movie. You should promote the movie because you're in it. And she like, no, it doesn't work that way. And then it
Hmm.
was that thing about her wanting. I want to say they offered her somewhere like $500,000 for a special
Hmm.
on Netflix, a
And she
one
wanted
hour
a
special,
million
and
or
she didn't want
something.
to do it. I think Amy Schumer got a couple of million. Then they were like, Dave Chappelle got all that money,
Hmm.
and I know Dave Chappelle's a man, but let me tell you though,
He's got a wider
Dave
audience.
Chappelle is a genius though. I mean, he is hilarious. So,
Yeah, and he has a much
and
wider audience.
yeah, much wider audience. So yeah, he got paid more than Amy Schumer, and then Amy Schumer has her fans too, right?
Hmm.
She was hot for that 1 second in time. She's
Hmm.
cooled off a little bit now, but she was very hot when they gave her that deal, and I can get it. She was current.
Hmm.
Monique, she's got a fan base, but she wasn't hot at the time. And I think if Monique was hot, I think Netflix would have paid her, gave her the money. I
Hmm.
think whatever the algorithm is, it determines, how much they pay people for what they're gonna see. I think they just offered her that, and then just that's how much they thought she was worth. They thought if they really thought she was worth more, I think Netflix would have paid her more.
Hmm.
And but who? Then again, I could be wrong. Maybe
Hmm.
Netflix did want to lowball her. So I don't know.
Because I mean, I know I'm not a fan, but I stopped being a fan ever since she did that whole routine against skinny girls,
Hmm.
and I'm just like, really?
I never liked her stand. I think I looked at her stand up,
Hmm.
and I thought it was okay. It wasn't funny, funny.
Hmm.
Um, and I had, I'm sorry, but I did have a thing against a lot of black female comedians where like I would go and watch their bits,
Hmm.
and I think a lot of them felt they had to be really, really raunchy for some reason,
Hmm. Oh,
and
who is
have
that old school comic? That older lady, Lionel or Lindale or whatever her name
yeah,
is.
like the
I ain't
light
like
skinned
her.
lady with the close haircut, yeah,
Yeah, I ain't like her. Yeah,
and
I don't really care for her. I'm trying to think. Is there a black female? There was who Simone. I always thought Simone was pretty.
you,
Her comedy
yeah,
was so so.
Simone's. Y'all can listen some more.
Is it some more? Yeah, some
Yeah, some
more.
more. She
Um,
can she can be a little raunchy, but she hilarious. She's funny though.
I can say one black female comedian I really like is the one that's on Trevor Noah show.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
She's
She is hilarious.
hilarious.
And then the
She is
other
hilarious.
lady, she's more famous. She's like Country Wayne, but she's on the internet a lot. She plays this. Her bit is about being a girlfriend who's crazy.
Yes, she is
I
funny.
forget her
I
name,
like
but
her.
she is hilarious. She's funny.
Yeah,
I like her too.
yeah,
So
I like her. But yeah, you're right. Some, especially some of those older school, like when was that? Kings of Comedy came out, the Queens of Comedy. I didn't really care for it,
Hmm.
and I believe Monique was on
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah,
Was she
and I
on
thought
that
they did. I thought they had some success with that tour. I thought
one? Mm-hmm. But guess who's getting into the comedy
Will Smith.
thing? Uh-uh.
Who?
You'll never guess. Atlanta's own Ti. Ti is a
Ti is gonna
comedian.
do stand up comedy.
Oh, he's been doing stand up comedy. Okay, okay.
I know he got out of the podcasting game.
hmm Well, I heard that he basically got booed off stage somewhere in New York, Brooklyn, I think. But yeah, this article from February 8th says West Hollywood, California Ti has acquired so much money and success through his 23-year career that there's not much that he needs to cross off his bucket list. However, the Atlanta rap legend has apparently been working hard on a hobby he seems ready to take to the stage. Over the weekend, footage of Ti hitting the stage at the Laugh Factory surfaced online, and it appears his audience was digging his performance. In the clip, fans can hear Ti making a joke about women getting breast augmentation surgery. So yeah, he's in the comedy game now. So like I said,
What?
this article was from February 8th. I was listening to the read this morning. My husband and I were riding to the store, listened to the read. Apparently he got booed off stage or something in New York. They love him in Atlanta, not so much in New York. So
I'm
yeah,
just trying to wrap my head around.
him being funny on
No,
purpose.
you know how you go certain things like if I'm a rapper, it's natural for me to go into acting. All
Yeah.
right. If I'm a rapper, it's natural for me to go into clothing, apparel, and shoes, or
Mhm.
liquor, or making a vodka.
Mhm.
But Ti did a total 300, like three. He just well, not 180, just comedy.
Yeah, comedy. So apparently, Godfrey.
Uh huh.
Godfrey
Godfrey,
has
yeah,
something to say. Godfrey
stay in your
says
lane,
Ti
bro.
isn't a comedian. Like there's this YouTube video, and then Ti reacts to him. I mean, Godfrey just try to make himself relevant wherever. He just always got something to say. He needs to just go sit down somewhere, in my opinion. Bless his heart.
How did Ti just sitting around one day like, you know what? I think I want to do comedy.
You know what? I'll take this over the foolish mess I've heard him say concerning his daughter's sexuality.
Right, and getting
And
her
all this other kind of
hymen
stuff.
check and
Yeah, honey, the
yeah.
the more time he spends on stage, the less he can check his daughter's hymen. I'm fine with that. Go on, baby, make him laugh. Go ahead.
Ti.
What's them words? Use them big words up there on stage. Work it out instamatically. Go ahead.
I really want to go to Atlanta to go to the Trap Museum, his Trap House Museum. Yeah, Ti has a trap museum with a gift shop. That is on my bucket list to go to the Trap Museum. You never heard of the Trap Museum?
Dion, how long have we known each other? Two, 2.5 decades. Have you ever heard me say anything about a trap museum? I did Dion, I was 40 before I knew what a trap house was. And I blushed. Okay. Sir, what you talking?
The Trap Music
Trap house
Museum,
museum. I'm so offended. I'm so upset. This is a trap house museum.
Atlanta, Georgia, baby. Oh, camera won't focus.
See, can't see it now.
Yeah, I'm going. I'm go-
I refuse. Absolutely refuse. You go right ahead. I don't need no souvenirs from that. Actually, I take that back. I take that back. I want a souvenir.
Get this.
What?
It's not only a trap music museum and escape room. They've got an escape room.
How to escape the trap house?
Yeah, that is hilarious. I've got to go. You ever been to an escape room?
Yes, I've experienced an escape room.
You
It was
probably
lots of
escaped.
fun.
I've never escaped, and I'm sad to say I've never been able to escape. I went with 2 school teachers,
And they couldn't
and
get out.
we couldn't get out.
I
Me,
liked it. We went once.
my roommate, his girl, and a friend of mine, and we could not get out.
Oh.
And it got to the point they were coming over the loudspeaker just giving us hints. And we just it was sad. T.I.'s Trap Music Museum and Escape Room.
D, when you go,
Oh yeah. I know what
want
I'm
a
going with. I
postcard.
know where I'm going when I go back to Atlanta.
I want a postcard from that place. That's what I want.
Okay.
And I'm gonna write something on the back of that postcard, and it's going in my journal. I have several. That's gonna go. It's gonna go in one of my journals. I'm gonna say what I gotta say in that journal, and I'm gonna close it up. I'm gonna pray over it, and that's gonna be the end.
Oh man, we almost at 2 hours. We got
We
to do
always
Cam.
almost at 2 hours.
Yeah, we got to do Cam. We got to cue him up. What time is it? I got to go to bed too. You don't hear me? Oh, we good. I thought it was like 2 o'clock in the morning.
No. What helped it? It was what 6 minutes and something. This fool started talking.
Yeah, 6 minutes 30. Yeah, about 6.
Okay, I got it at 6:35.
You gonna
Tell
cue
me
him
when to
up?
stop, cause
Cam got in trouble
he gets on my nerves
again, and he's a free agent. Like you should keep your mouth shut, cause really, you're not under contract yet.
Hold on, let me make sure I am sharing the sound so you guys can hear his foolishness. Let's see, share system audio, I guess. This fool up here looking like a hotel farmer.
He said a hotel farmer. Look at
He do.
he got a little. What's that around his neck? Cam, man.
I'm up
Come
here.
on,
Look, I
man.
got my whole hair wrapped, but baby, tell me he ain't looking like hotel.
At least
Father
he
John.
ain't got like a short onesie on. And remember, he wore like a onesie short thing.
Yes. Farmer hotel. I cannot. With Superman across his chest. Let's see what he gonna say. Lord have mercy. Just Father keep me.
So I'm not one of these dudes to be like, bro, I'm gutter, I'm this, I'm that. Man, I had a perfect example of what a man was in my life by my father. My
Do
parents
tell.
have been together for 36, 37 years now, and it's a beautiful thing. I grew up in a 3-parent household, my mom, my father, and my grandmother. And I knew what a woman was, not a bad bitch.
Okay, what's the difference?
A woman.
Okay.
A bad bitch is a person who's just, you know, girl, I'm a bad bitch. You know, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I look the part, but I don't act the part.
Okay.
You know, and it's a lot of women who are bad bitches. And I say bitches in a way, not to degrade a woman, but just to go off the aesthetic of what they deem is a boss chick. Now, a woman for me is handling your own, but knowing how to cater to a man's needs, right? And I think a lot of times when you get that aesthetic of like, I'm a boss bitch, like I'm a this, I'm a that, no, baby, like, but you can't cook.
Okay.
You don't know when to be quiet. You don't know how to allow a man to lead.
Now, a
Mhm.
lot of women, now the kickback of that is be quiet. I'm gonna be quiet for the man and handle his business. You know, that's what they say.
Mhm.
Or I'm gonna be vulnerable. I'm gonna be submissive to a man and handle his business.
Mhm.
That's what they gonna say. So, what is your?
But it's ways to do it, and I'm not just about to sit up there and beat up my queens.
No, I ain't saying like that.
But I'm also gonna also tell the men to start being men, bro.
Absolutely.
That sucker shit should not be rewarded.
And what sucker shit? So,
You know, when a person carries himself social media wise, and it's a fraud in real life.
okay,
Mhm.
You know, it's more to every person that got money, every person who's rich isn't a real one. You know what
okay.
I'm saying?
Right.
And I think that gets kind of misconstrued.
Yeah, I think we
in
can stop here
this
because he goes
society
on
now
like
because a lot of
something
people
totally
have money.
different. Yeah. And like I was telling you, this is not the first time Cam has said something questionable like this. And I would tell you that about 4 years ago, I was watching ESPN and he's doing a press conference. And this lady, she's an analyst, and she was talking about this play one of his teammates ran, and she was talking about the routes they were running. And she's an analyst, so she's going to analyze the game. And Cam is looking at her, smiling and says to himself, says out loud to her, like, I always think it's funny when women talk to me about routes and things like that. And I just think it's funny. And yeah, and I remember watching it like, oh wow. I said they're going to come for you, Cam Newton. I couldn't believe he said it, first of all. And I was like, I told somebody, I said, okay, I'm just waiting for the apology tour because that's coming next. Because I can't believe he just off the cuff said that and thought that was okay to say at a press conference. So Cam has always had that old way of thinking. He was raised by, he said a 3-parent household. And so, this catering he wants to be catered to. And his little take on quote unquote boss, BITC. And so yeah, Cam's got that in him. I can tell because this ain't the first time. This ain't no slip up. Like he really has that old school thinking in him about women catering to their men and being silent. And me personally, nowadays the way I look at it is, oh Cam, Jesus, man. And did you see the podcaster when he first went down and said that? You see the look on his face like, whoa, son. Like, you notice it's like live. He was looking at him like, oh boy. He was looking at him like, okay, I'm gonna run with it. And so yeah, I was like, man, those guys are not your friends. I would have been like, oh, let's see if we can cut this or something. Cause boy, you about to step in it. Cause they're gonna come for you on this. But you can tell Cam got that old school belief, and I guess that's his take on his mother. Maybe that's why the woman should be is subservient to her husband, and they probably had that type of upbringing where the dad, made all the decisions and the mother was subservient. And he thought that was a wonderful childhood. And yeah.
I question how his mother felt in that marriage.
Right. Yeah. And he thinks it's perfect, right? To him as a child, he thinking I get my meals every day. and this is how a family should be.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, and but
Mm-hmm.
Cam, man, jeez, dude, like you really need to. And he's not that old, right? He is
Mm-mm.
not that old.
I told you, performative patriarchy.
He needs, yeah,
At
it's
least
kind of
back
sort
in
of.
the day, at least back in the day when grandpa and uncle and great granddaddy had a couple of families, at least he supported both families.
Hmm. Yeah, but Cam is he's a little too young for that
No,
to be
that's
thinking
how
that
they
way.
think. Dion, I'm telling you, that's how they thinking these days, but they don't have nothing to back it up. The one thing I can say about this, I don't want to call him a fool. The one thing I can say about this person is right now he got the money to back it up.
Hmm.
Most of them don't have the money to back it up, but that's the attitude they have. That is the attitude they have,
I'm like
and
this,
it drives me crazy.
nowadays, depending on the type of man you are, um, if that's what you're looking for, some subservient, because I see it all the time. There's some women out there that'll take that deal.
And there's nothing wrong with that if
There's
that's
nothing wrong
her
with it.
opinion. If that's what she wants. If that's what
Hmm.
she wants, then more power to her. My thing is the audacity.
To say it out
Have those
loud.
conversations with when you sitting down with your woman that you thinking about marrying and you let her know what type of relationship you would prefer.
Right.
But to put that wide to paint with that broad brush, no, that's not right. And
Yeah.
getting back to this whole idea of being used as a term of endearment, especially when it's a man to a woman, shut up. Just stop
And
that.
then you see he used Queen. He's like, I don't want
No,
to. He put
no,
Queen in it. Yeah.
no.
He cleaned it up.
I don't even like the term. I don't even like the term queen, D. I don't. I don't like queen. I don't like king. Where the kingdom at? If you a king, where your throne? Where the servants at? Where your land at? What resources you producing?
The kingdom.
Ain't none. That's a part of that language. That is a part of the language again of performative patriarchy. No. If a man is
Yeah.
a queen, if a man is a king, he don't have to tell you he a king. You see
If
it.
if if I was Cam's publicist, I would sit him down again. Like, once again, Cam, you cannot have barbershop conversations in public, right? There, that's for the barbershop.
Mm.
You are a public figure. Even if you believe it, you shouldn't say it. You know, like, geez.
Mm.
And he lost like several $1 million worth of endorsements the first time you made that comment about the female analyst. And the only thing that saved him a little bit when that popped off, that same female analyst, somebody decided to go back in her Twitter feed and find some somewhat semi-racist comments that she made. And that's the only thing that even saved him then. So, but dude, you just cannot keep doing that. This is twice. And it's not, but people are like, well, he's a good. Nah, that's how he really feels. I really think that's how he feels.
And that's fine. He
Right.
can feel that way. He gonna
Right.
find him a cute little girl that'll
Who would
accept all
love
of
to be a
that.
housewife?
Exactly. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily a bad thing, but to prescribe that for everyone, one, two, to characterize women who who want to be run a business, they want to have a certain persona. Okay, fine. If that's not hurting you, then what's the problem?
He
It
said,
has nothing.
you can't be a boss bee if you can't cook. You can run a Fortune
Sugar.
500 company, but
if
you
I
ain't a
can
boss
if I
bitch if
can
you
do
can't
all of
cook.
that, I hire a cook. What's the problem?
Pretty much.
Like, I don't get that. Like, I've been married for a while, almost 20 years. I don't cook like I used to. But every time I throw down in the kitchen and I put a plate in front of my husband when I do have time to, he appreciates every drop. Will pack up and pack his lunch up and ask for a second plate, or just go in there and fix his other plate. I mean, be happy. And then other times, when we together, if we hungry, if I'm busy, he busy, he'll pick up something from my favorite restaurant, or we'll DoorDash it. We eating,
Right.
and
And
people
you
would
did bring up
consider,
a good point. Yeah. Just find somebody who feels that same way.
yeah, and that works for us.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Because yeah, nowadays you do have a choice. You want to be a housewife, you can be a housewife.
Be a
If your
housewife.
husband if your husband can afford to have you stay
Mhm.
home,
Mhm.
which most of the time you can't, not this day and age.
It depends. Yeah, yeah. It depends on the lifestyle you choose.
Hmm.
So,
So
yeah, but the child ain't nobody think about
I
Cam.
just can't believe Cam got caught out there again. Like he
I
casually
believe
said
it.
it too. Like ain't nobody gonna see this podcast anyway. I'm like, man, it's the internet.
Yeah, eventually this is gonna get out. Eventually it's gonna be like, dang, I ain't know Nicole was she's just so nice and no, well, nobody. I don't think anybody that knows me thinks I'm but so nice. But yeah, one day.
Like this dude, I'm like, man,
That's
you're
Cam.
not
But I
even
mean,
signed. You're not even
I
signed to a team.
anytime I know you, it's a problem because I know you because you're problematic. If you're like a famous person, something
Hmm.
happened problematic for me to be familiar with you because I do not engage. I don't know when was the last time I watched TV. The last thing I binge watched on Netflix was that Viking series. What was it? The Last Kingdom or something like that.
Uh,
That was the last thing I binge watched on
you know
Netflix.
he's beloved by black women, right? I think a lot of black women got into football because of two people, Cam Newton and Russell Wilson.
Now, I do like Russell Wilson.
Right. Them two are the most beloved quarterbacks. I feel the black women, especially in North Carolina, love Cam Newton. They also like Russell Wilson.
I just like him. It did neither one of them would move me to watch an actual football game. I honestly would only watch a HBCU football game, period, and that would just be for the band. I could care less
And for
about
some reason, they have this weird fixation with Russell Wilson because of his relationship with Sierra.
yeah, because he's a catch. And unfortunately, I've seen memes floating around where black men try to say that he's not attractive, like he's just average. No. And from what I can gather, because again, I don't know, I really don't know that much about him as a person, but he's very much an attractive, marriageable person. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I like Russell. I mean, you look at him. Shoot.
Well, the manosphere thinks that Russell Wilson is a simp because he got with a woman who had a baby.
And 99% of the manosphere are the children of men who walked away. So
Pretty
they're
much.
just mad that somebody is raising a child that nobody bothered to raise in them. I could care. Like that's stupid. So you mad at a man who found value in a woman who happened to have a child when in addition to probably most of them having absent fathers themselves, probably got 2 or 3 kids floating out of there that they're not paying child support for because they're too busy sitting on the internet watching videos hating on women that they can't get anyway.
called a man a simp. It's like, wow.
Okay, a man simp is a woman's preference. I don't understand where these men get off attempting to determine what's attractive to a woman. Now, Russell Wilson would not. I mean, if they trying to figure out the attractiveness when it comes to a man, what does that make them? Are they gay? Are they
Right.
interested? You know, are they trying to like? I don't understand that part. I understand. I mean, Russell Wilson to me, just looking at him, he's a nice looking average black guy.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with him. I mean,
Mm-mm.
he's an athlete, so he's fit.
And I've
You
never
know.
heard anything negative about him. He's got a good reputation. What is it? Because he's not a thug or he's not like, you know, edgy or whatever? Is that supposed to be like a thing? That
Yeah,
a negative
that
thing?
yeah. I think that's the thing. Like he's an athlete, but he's one of those guys that are like corny athlete, like square, but he's good at athletics. So
I like squares. So like my
yeah,
husband's
I don't think there's
corny.
nothing wrong with him. They just hating on him.
He's a
You
good
know.
guy.
Yeah,
I
I don't see a problem.
honestly I
Sierra
met
was single, and everybody liked Sierra. Like black men love Sierra. I just the other day I heard a black man say, "I wish the Panthers would uh, pick up Russell Wilson so Sierra will be in North Carolina."
who is her child's father?
Um, I don't want to say. Let me see. I want to say Future.
So okay, so she had a child by this first person. It obviously didn't work out. And then she chose a stable, down to earth, semi corny professional football player, and that's supposed to make him a simp.
Oh, did I say Future?
Yeah,
Yeah, Future.
and Future's a rapper, right?
Mm-hmm.
So more than likely, Sierra was in like her young, like in thug stage. He's like a thuggish kind of rapper, right?
Not, I wouldn't say Future is really not.
But he's more of a bad boy than Russell Wilson.
Right.
So
He's
maybe
more
she was just
edgier.
going through a stage. Yeah, he's edgy. She was going through a stage. Maybe it was superficial. It's probably more physical or whatever. And you know, whatever happened, who knows what type of father he was? I don't know. I don't know their story. But she moved on from him and got with someone who apparently is decent, faithful, able to provide, brings just as much financial wise to the relationship as her,
Mm-hmm.
and she has a child by someone else. Like if she were to stay with Future, how many additional children? Doesn't Future had children
Future got a
sprinkled all
lot
over?
of kids. A lot of
So
kids.
I guess I just don't understand that. I mean, again, to me, it sounds like that double standard.
Well, you know, the manosphere says once again she's out here. He, you know, seems like that saving hoes that don't deserve to be saved. Pretty much, it to the manosphere. If you got a child, then you are no longer valuable.
Okay, so if you have a child by a man, you're no longer valuable. So a man reduces your value.
A child reduces your value as a
No,
woman.
the man reduces your value because you couldn't have a child without a man, correct?
Right. And then if the man has a bunch of children, isn't his value reduced too?
No,
And
I wouldn't. I mean, it's the manosphere, so of course it's going to be
yeah, of course.
tilted into their favor.
I've heard women say the same. Like I was with this very attractive lady. She had 2
Mhm.
children. And I was telling my cousin about her, and I showed my cousin her picture. And well, I told my cousin first. I told my cousin she had 2 kids, and my
Mhm.
cousin was like, 2 kids," and she looked at me kind of funny. And then
Mhm.
I showed her the girl the picture, my cousin, the lady's picture, and the lady I was dating, she's very attractive. And my cousin like, oh, she's really pretty. That's why she's able to find somebody with 2 kids. That's
Well,
coming from a woman. And I was like,
well,
wow.
this is the thing. I mean, could be two things going on. So if men already have that perception that a woman who has a child or multiple children and is not with somebody is, that's not something that they really want to pursue, that could have been your cousin's experience, right? And
Hmm.
maybe she was just repeating that. Or she could have been a male identified woman who uses the same logic as those men. Could have been based off her experience or belief. Either one.
Okay.
Because I mean, I've heard women say, well, if you have multiple children, he's less likely to marry you because of the financial burden that he will have to take on for children that are his, X, Y, and Z, and yada, yada, yada. And that could be true. Somebody looking at a situation with a woman with multiple kids would be looking at additional people to be responsible for, even if that child's father is involved. Then you have that layer on top of it. So it could be complicated. However, when it comes to men who have multiple children, 9 times out of
Right.
10, that child is not going to be with them. However, a woman is more adaptable than a man.
Hmm.
And she'll be led with her emotions and all that other kind of crap, not realizing that, yeah, boo boo, he's got 3 kids outside of your relationship. If you marry him, financially, their child support is going to be based on both of your incomes.
I didn't know that. I thought it
Yeah.
was just based on the man's income.
No, it's based on household income. Now that could vary
Oh
by the
wow.
state, but it's based on the household income.
Hmm.
The 2 states that I'm familiar with, that I mostly do taxes with, where that comes up, household income. And sometimes that woman ends up, if the child support order requires for the father to carry the child on their insurance, and the wife has the better insurance, stepmama will carry that child on their insurance.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Uh
Children that
oh.
aren't even in the household, all kinds of stuff. So it happens. So it's a liability either way. It's just who's talking the loudest and who's complaining the most. Black women, unfortunately, have been pigeonholed to believe that the only men, well, the majority of men that are going to want them are Black men, which puts them at a huge disadvantage, because then they'll cater to what this limited amount of Black men wants them to do. But that's a whole
Yeah, I've
nother,
heard. I have seen that. I've heard that.
Mm-hmm.
That nobody wants you but us.
No, that's so not true. The
Nah.
percentage is so very not true. Very not true. I see it all the time on the West Coast.
Yeah.
A lot of times
I
if I don't
don't
have
think
my
so.
ring on,
Uh
and
oh.
sometimes when I do.
If you don't have your ring on, Peter says, "Hey."
It ain't always Peter, honey. Sometimes it's Pablo, Enrique.
Oh, okay. I see.
So it's it's a whole new. Oh, my cat just woke up. It's a whole new. You hear that? You hear that? Can you hear the noise in the background?
No, my pods are going dead.
Okay. He says
Yeah.
hello.
Oh,
I
the
didn't
cat.
realize how smart he was when he was a kid, and I would just say hello, hello. And now when he wants my attention, he'll hello, hello.
The
It's
cat says
hilarious.
hello.
Mhm. He'll do it if he wants my attention. Hello. Once I figured out, I had to do some reading up on what cats do. They mimic to get human attention. So their chirping or their meow is their imitation of a child's cry, because evolutionary wise they realize how we respond to children crying, but that's their imitation of a child crying.
That's scary.
Yeah, they do it to birds too. Have you ever lived with a cat?
Uh-uh.
You
I
never
don't
had a
like
cat?
that.
I love cat. They're so precious.
They
But
just
they chirp like birds in order to lure birds in so that they can attack them. They'll sit at the door, sit at the window to try to get the
Oh
birds to come
wow.
close. Hmm.
I didn't know ravens could talk like parrots.
Can they?
Yeah, like I didn't know that.
Now that's crazy. I
I was
didn't know
like
that.
YouTube, and this lady had taught one to talk, and it talks good too.
Oh wow.
And I
Yeah,
was
I
like,
didn't
oh,
know
that
that.
would freak me out. What if that bird got away and flew and
Well,
hello?
I guess Edgar Allan Poe knew what he was talking about.
Right, when it says nevermore, they can
Hmm.
talk. I didn't they were like, yeah, they're like parakeets, they can talk.
I didn't realize that.
I was
Cool.
like, that's insane.
Well, when you finally make it out to the Grand Canyon, you'll see how big those ravens are. Some of them are big as turkeys.
I already been to Grand Canyon several times.
Have you seen the ravens?
Uh-uh.
Those big black birds? You didn't see them?
I didn't see any ravens. I probably thought they were buzzards.
You probably did. Like those things are huge.
What trips me
Huge.
out is the little sound pad for people with pets. You see those
Oh, the
where
ones?
you
Yes,
yeah, they
yes.
go like,
Oh my
hello, hello.
gosh.
I
They'll
want to
get
play.
mad and call them a
I
bee.
want to
And,
play.
uh-huh.
I'm like, that's freaky. That's scary.
Yeah, but the one thing I'm not doing, you're not cussing me. You're not gonna be in my house on 4 legs cussing at me. You're not gonna be in my house on 2
Oh, you
legs
saw
cussing
that
at me.
video?
Man,
Well, that's
this
their
little
fault.
dog
They
wanted
should
to
have
go
a
play
cuss
and he
button.
Nah, you're
I
not gonna
think they
cuss me
made
in my
that
house.
up. They added a sound. They added that sound.
Well, all I
I
know
think I
is
saw the original video. It did. I saw the video where they edited and put that. They put that in there. That's,
it had better be edited in my house. You not gonna be walking on anybody's 4 legs, 2 legs, 1 leg and a crutch and cuss me in my house. No. You will get
look,
out.
I know, right? Well,
Mm-mm.
Nicole, I'm gonna have to get off right here because my
Yeah,
stuff is
gonna
going
get off because
dead.
you after 12. I'm 10-17, child. You know, I would have been in the bed 3 hours ago.
Oh, okay.
Woo.
Well,
And it's tax season too. Tomorrow the last day for taxes, people. Gonna get your stuff done. And don't worry your tax professional at the last minute. You waited till the last minute. Not my clients did. And I kind of pushed.
I know,
them
right?
on
April
that.
15th coming quick.
No, 18th. They gave us a little bit of an
Oh, they
extension
gave us a
over the
little extra
weekend.
time, a little extension.
Yeah, got a little bit of extra time. So
I did have my taxes done. Got my refund.
go ahead. But
I
no,
know,
I
right?
probably got like 5 returns to do. They'll get done. They don't take much.
Complicated W-2.
A couple of the ones that are complicated, I'm extending.
Okay.
Yeah, the other ones though, not so much. I just got to get in there plugging the numbers.
All right. I'm about to shut it down.
Okay. Well, it was nice chit-chatting with you.
Always. 2
And
hours and 27 minutes.
mhm.
All
It's
right.
look, you got plenty to work with. Look, like my
Plenty.
dad said, make them. My father actually said to make them 30-minute segments. I was like, if you don't get your old behind and gone
30-minute segment. Okay. Maybe
yeah,
I can chop them up into 30 and then
don't listen to him.
Don't listen to him.
Don't
Okay.
listen to him.
All right. I won't do it.
I'm just saying that because it's my dad. All
All
right.
right.
I'm gonna go and
I'm
sign
about to
off. You
jump
have a
off.
good week.
You too.
All right. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.